Hey y'all, it's me, Kimba Upshaw Howard. I'm the big sis, not the little one.
Hey y'all, it's Denise Nicole Upshaw. Yeah, I'm the little sis, but I've been giving Kimba a run for her money since the 99 and the 2000s. And welcome to On the Up and Up with the Upshaw sisters. Now, Kimba, we are in a new month. It's September. What typically happens in September?
It's back to school. Who's not in school? When I was younger, school started the Tuesday after Labor Day. And now school is starting a lot earlier and it's going a little bit longer. But I'm just so excited that school is back in session because I love to see, from elementary to high school with the backpacks and now they're on their e-scooters and everything. It's just a whole different vibe, and I love that. I'll pick that over driving commute anytime.
Right, right. Yeah, I remember that Tuesday after Labor Day, the night before setting out our clothes, what we're gonna wear, like the jitters, getting up every few hours to check the clock. But education is so important. Our family instilled education into us at early ages, and so we absolutely wanted to touch on education here on Up and Up now that we're in September. And with that, we are going to use the whole month of September to bring some awesome guests to speak to our audience. I remember our grandpa Sonny used to call me every week and ask me to spell certain words. Like he would always give me a vocabulary test every week. What about you, Kimba? Do you have any memories?
Oh, for sure. So the thing about it is you could not walk up on that porch 5724. You could not without spelling. And one thing that I remember that he told me is never use a word that you cannot spell. If you can't spell the word, don't use it.
Yeah, and I also have really fond memories of my mom coming to my classroom, and she would go on the field trip. She would sit in the classroom volunteering. I mean, the education and academic achievement was definitely a staple in our household and ensuring that, we were able to make it to areas that some folks in the family weren't, that we were able to pave the way for folks, that we were able to make it into certain rooms that we had historically been omitted from. So I really have a lot to thank my family for in terms of keeping education on the forefront of my mind. It definitely helped me in many respects. So, with that, I'm so excited that we are just dedicating the month of September to education. We have a very special guest with us today who's going to share all about her journey as well as how she's motivating others to plant the seeds of success. We are going to just say her name out loud. Jaida Steele. Jaida Steele is here with us today. Jaida is a transformational speaker and facilitator and a coach. She doesn't like to talk about the coach as much, but she is a coach out there. And she leads powerful workshops across the US focused on helping people reshape their self image, build unshakable confidence, and embody the version of themselves they've always envisioned. Through her work with the Excellence Accelerator, she's helped professionals unlock over $3.4 million in income in the last year alone by combining mindset mastery with strategic career growth. Her mission is to help others stop playing small and start living in alignment with the excellence they already carry. So without further ado, let's welcome Jaida Steele.
What's up, ladies? How are y'all today? How are y'all doing?
Amazing.
What's up? What's up?
What's up? We're excited to have you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. For
I
sure.
think we should start off with the vibe check. Let's see how everybody's feeling today. What influenced their wardrobe? Jaida, you are our guest, so we are going to start with you.
Oh
Tell us
boy.
what's going on.
So the vibes is good. I'm feeling good. I'm typically wearing black. A lot of people do see me and I'm wearing black. Growing up, my mom definitely used to say, there are other colors that you can wear, right? We
Right.
we can take you to get other clothes. I did branch out a little bit, but hey, look, today's a black day, okay? I got some real serious business to handle today, so we going all black, okay? So that's my vibe, real serious today. Not too serious, cause I gotta get dressed to go see Chris Brown, but I'm real serious up until then. Yeah, that's me.
Definitely giving that tech CEO look, huh?
Listen, I love it. I mean, the energy. So sometimes people think that black is dark and gloomy, and that's
No.
just so not true. You
Mhm.
know, and so just your energy is your color. You know what I mean? Your energy is that spark.
Absolutely.
It's that extra touch. And so
I
I
love
just I just
that.
love that. And
For
for
sure.
me, today what I needed to do was I needed to ground myself. And
Mm.
so I
Mm,
started with a guided meditation, something that I just kind
mhm,
of found like on YouTube. And I said, let me center myself, let me make sure that I'm open. And in being open, I needed to put on a loose top. It's actually your
mhm.
shirt dress, and I just kind of wanted to be loose enough so that way I could give what's within me and I could receive everything that the universe and Jada is
You're
bringing today
right.
because I needed that. So I put on my big hair, I put on my loose shirt, and I am here and I am open. How about you, Nicole?
Yes. So today I was feeling very 90s vibe, in case you can't tell. We're talking about education, so I have to go to the foundation of that part of my life. And that was in the 90s, where we had the colorful vests and different things. My mom got me this, shout out to her. A black top just to keep it plain underneath, but then the choker. That's the 90s vibe for sure. Uh, and I even decided to do a little brown lip liner. I don't know if y'all remember that from the 90s, but that's where I'm at. But I'm feeling really excited to receive what Jada has. I am someone who taps into motivational speakers every day. Kimba and I, we swap
Yeah.
motivational videos all the time. So, that's my vibe check. And I'm really here to hear about Jada. Jada, let's start off with you and just giving us a little bit about your background. You talked about your mom. We would love to hear more about what influenced your career path.
For sure. I'll be honest. When y'all were talking in the beginning about education and spelling and everything, I was like, whoa, because all these different memories of just my childhood, growing up and stuff, it all came to the forefront for me. And I was like, dang, I forgot about that. But y'all put some new memories back into my brain. So I think that right there in itself is a good place. So for me, my mother had me when she was really young, man. My mom was 17 years old. My dad was 18. They were still in high school when I was born. I'm at the graduation in the photos, okay? And so that meant throughout my childhood, I spent a lot of time with my grandparents. And
Mhm.
at my grandmother's house, when you walk through the kitchen and then you go to the living room, she has this humongous bookcase, y'all. I'm talking about it's huge. Like this entire wall I have behind me, the bookcase probably takes up that entire wall. For her, it's a lot of cookbooks. Okay, she like to cook. It's a lot of cookbooks, but it's some other books and stuff sprinkled in there. And I remember just being, you know, 4 or 5 years old,
Mhm.
and then all you hear is pitter patter, like my feet just going across the ceramic. And I'm like, hey, can you make me a grilled cheese? She like, why you didn't ask your mama to make you a grilled cheese? She was in bed with you. And I was like, nah, see, because nanas are for cooking,
Mhm.
mamas are for whipping. So I'm gonna need that grilled cheese up off of you. And when she would make grilled cheese, I would go pick out this little book from the bookcase, and I'd be like, "So can you read it to me? Cause I can't read the words. Can you read it to me?" And she'd be like, "Yeah." And she'll read the little storybook to me. And I believe that that's really what, started my
Mhm.
initial growth for knowledge and just loving to be somebody who I got the answer. You know what I mean? And if I
Right.
don't have it, I guarantee, give me 60 minutes. And if I don't have a meeting or something, I can get that answer for you. So I would
Right.
definitely say that right there was like that right there is the beginning of Jada's brain, you know. And y'all were just reminding me of that. So thank y'all for that. I gotta call her later and be like, you remember this? She'll
You
be like,
better go find a dictionary. And we didn't have all of that fast, technology. Go
oh,
find a
Mhm.
dictionary. Sound it
yes,
out
Right.
until you can
mhm,
find it.
yes. Sound it out till you can find it. Even growing up, like there was no such thing as like saying I don't know. You
Mhm,
know, your answer better be I can go figure it out. There's no I don't know. My mom would always say, I'm not raising dependents, I'm raising adults. So
oh.
the dictionary was unfortunately a very active part of my life.
And
If I didn't know a word, my mama would say, "Go look the word up. You come back
mhm,
and tell me what it means." And I think now that's why I am so literal with my words,
right.
for multiple reasons outside of the dictionary. But the dictionary was quite the start.
And do y'all remember the Encyclopedia Britannica too? Having the whole
Unfortunately,
set?
yes, yes,
Definitely. I remember wanting to get rid of it, when I got a little bit older.
yes,
And I
Kimberly.
was like, and my dad was like, no, you do not throw books away. We do not throw
Ooh,
books away, and so when it gets to that time, you can donate it,
Yep,
you can either
mhm.
keep it or you can
yep,
donate it to someone else who will use it, but we do
yep.
not throw
Right,
books away.
I like
right.
that. I
I
like
like
that.
it
It's
too.
throwing knowledge away is crazy. It was hard enough for us to get to the point where we could, freely get that knowledge.
Yeah.
So for people to just willingly, throw it away, that's
Mhm,
a problem. We had to work hard to get here to where we can have a book in our home. It
mhm,
took a long time for us to get there. So I think we need to keep it going. We shouldn't be throwing
Mhm.
anything
right.
away that give us consistent knowledge.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And what comes to mind is as this particular conversation that we're having is around the seeds for success,
Mhm,
planting those seeds in our youth, right? And
Mm-hmm.
for those parents who have the babies or even the teenagers and they're
Mm-hmm.
trying to steer their kids toward success. And that can come in many forms. It doesn't necessarily just come in one form. And so, Jada, talk to us about your pathway to
Mm-hmm.
success. What did you do? Because I know that you have done a lot of self-teaching.
Mm-hmm.
You've tapped into mentors. Talk to us about your pathway.
You know, I like to say that my pathway was rather unique. I'm definitely not one of those people who, tries to pretend like my entire life was ordinary or like my path was ordinary because I would
mhm,
be lying. It's like I can't even tell a lie like that. So for me, um, it all started with just being a constant gatherer of knowledge, I would
mhm,
say. So I get asked the question a lot, like, well, how did you do this? How did you start doing this? How did you start doing that? And the fact of the matter is that this is not overnight success. A lot of this is what I've been doing since I was literally in elementary school.
mhm,
Since I was in elementary school, since I was in middle school, I've been building myself, I've been building my mind. So I remember being in school, high school, middle school. The teacher is talking, and I'm over here reading a whole nother book. Like,
yeah.
I'm not even paying the teacher any attention because I just felt like there's literally nothing that important that you're talking about right now. And I really meant that. And I would tell them that as well. And I would be like, nothing you're talking about right now is relevant to me. And they'd be
Mm,
like, Jacob, why are you acting like this? I said, because I don't want to learn this. So I vividly remember being in class. I think at this point I was in a specific math class. Y'all, I was over here reading Body Language for Dummies. That was like a
mm,
900 and something page book. And I'm taking my book, got my book with me, each class, reading my book. Teacher's
yeah,
like, why you not in the school book? Why are you in this book? But I've always been the person who would rather down my own sword than to sit up here and down your sword and be mad about it. So
right.
I knocked my own sword every time. So I took my self-education very seriously because I saw the gaps in traditional education and where they were leading the people that I personally knew. So the
Right.
people that I knew that took this traditional route that they were trying to get me to take, they weren't making the type of money that I considered good money. They were making money that they considered to be good money. I'm a money motivated individual. So it's not too many things that they could inspire me with that would make me pay attention. But
Mhm,
when I would go on YouTube and I would be able to learn and get information from the YouTube mentors, they would say, You need to know sales. You need to know body language. You need to have emotional intelligence. You need a host of things. And I said, well, they're not teaching none of this in school, so I might as well just focus on my own pathway that I got going on right here. So that's pretty much what I did. Continue to do that through life. When I was 17 years old, I was getting mentored by Eric Thomas.
Yeah.
You know, as a speaker, it's 17 years old. You think I
And
would?
he's a favorite around here. Sorry to
And
interrupt
I've
here,
seen
but
that.
he's
Yeah, I've
definitely
seen
a
that. And I
favorite.
said, she like D Shans and ET. You better do it.
So yeah, like, remember, even when it comes to David Shands, he was my mentor at 17 years old. To this day, I call him. He's like, "What's good, sis?" So I took my skill sets very seriously. I saw that it was certain books in school that really weren't helping people be successful. It was really just helping people pass a test.
Right.
And that goes into this whole nother thing of why I have this thing with simple knowledge versus complex knowledge. And we ain't got to get into that right now. So yeah, like that's how it really started for me. Just being hungry for the knowledge, hungry for the success, and just honestly saying, well, if this is how they did it, then let me just do what they doing too.
Right. Right. Let me
That's why
touch on something. And
yeah.
I heard you say in one of the interviews that you did that confidence comes from doing what you say you're going to do. So
100%.
confidence isn't someone telling you a thing. Confidence is you actually doing a thing. And that's what I'm hearing you say. Since grammar school, you've been building on your confidence. I love that. Tell us a little bit more about the confidence builders for the individuals who may need to be able to tap into that confidence within themselves.
Right. I'll be honest. The first step is literally what you just said, which is doing what you said you're going to do. If you do y'all like liars? Are y'all cool? Like, so Denise, you don't like liars. Kimber, you don't like liars?
Right. Nope.
Be honest. Be straightforward. I'm a
Okay.
straightforward person.
Be
Straight word.
authentic.
Give it
Yes.
to me.
Okay. So let me ask y'all something. When was the last time y'all said y'all was gonna do something, y'all ended up not doing it?
Probably yesterday.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the thing is, if somebody else was to treat us that way, we'll cut them off. Like, I'm done with you, bro. You a liar. You got to get out of my life. You negative. That's what we would say. We would call them. We would call them negative. We would say they're negative Nancy. We would say that they're a liar. We would say that they're dishonest. But we dishonest for ourselves.
Yes.
We be lying to ourselves.
Yeah. Good
Like
reminder.
Yeah.
you know. So I made a pact with myself that I'm not lying to myself anymore. And once I stopped lying to myself, that's where the confidence started to grow. So I would tell anybody that's the first place you need to start. Stop lying to yourself. If you said, look, today I'm getting 10,000 steps in, why you stop at 9,200?
Yes.
You got 800 more to go. You know? Or if you told yourself, today I'm going to send 50 emails for outreach,
Right.
why did you not do it? Why did you let your sister calling you and distracting you with whatever happened in her dating life? Why'd you let that distract you from the promise you made to yourself? So for me, that's how that confidence is truly developed. You don't meet liars with high levels of confidence. You don't. It's impossible. They lack integrity. If you lack integrity, I know you probably lack confidence.
Right.
So that's really where it started for me in terms of confidence. Do what you say you're gonna do. It's that's for real. It really
I
is.
love that because that's a discipline. Yeah, that's a
It
discipline.
is.
Yes. It's a discipline. I can tell quick if somebody lies to themselves a lot. And I'll be like, oh yeah, just, maybe like fix that. It's very simple. I'm like, you should fix that. You should stop being
And
a
I
liar.
love the discipline side of it, like you said, Kimba, because that means that it's within our control.
Right.
We
Yes.
have control to follow through on the things that we say we're going to do. And that may mean making some people upset. That may mean, stopping some of the behaviors that we've grown comfortable doing,
Right.
getting off of social media, not taking those phone calls, sitting with yourself in meditations, praying, reading the Bible, whatever it is that you need to do to discipline yourself and to then go after those goals that you set for yourself. I absolutely agree with that. And, if we're thinking about putting that into terms for kids to understand, like teenagers to understand, what would you say to them? 'Cause this is what you do, right, Jada?
Yeah, this
Tell
is
us
what I
about like,
do.
this is what you do.
Yeah, to be honest with y'all, and this I think it'll surprise a lot of people, but kids and adults don't have that many differences. So the same advice that you would give to a child is the same exact advice that you
Mhm.
give to an adult.
Mhm.
And when I am speaking with children and things like that, I let them know straight up, do what you said you're going to do.
Right.
If you do what you say you're going to do when you're younger, it's very easy to do what you say you're going to do when you're older.
Right.
Unfortunately, a lot of children have had their minds already riddled with negativity and mud by the people that
Mhm.
are taking care of them.
Right.
So,
Right.
not all students have that ability to
Mm.
be able to get themselves out of that because they got so much negativity and drama around them.
Right.
And they can't all get out of it. But there are some things that they 100% have in their control.
Right.
And that's when they do have to do what they can do. You
Right.
know? Um, I went to I was at a school in Seattle, it's a college. They send high school students there every summer for like, I think, anywhere from 45 to 60 days. They stay on campus, they complete all these different things. They brought me out there for 3 days. I
Yeah.
said, okay, perfect. When I was speaking to certain students one on one, they were telling me about different things that they desired, different things they want to do. So my next question is, great. And I told one child, I said, "You either gotta piss in the pot or you gotta get up." And they was like, dang, what that mean? She said, what that mean? I said, look, you're sitting up here telling me to my face that you want to be a hairstylist. But when I asked you when was the last time you did somebody's hair, you didn't have a date for me.
Mhm.
That tells me that you don't actually want to be a hairstylist. That
Right.
tells me that you like to think about being one.
Ooh. They
Period.
like
Like
fantasy and
fantasize.
not a goal.
Absolutely. One of my favorite books is Think and Grow Rich. My next favorite book is Outwitting the
Mhm.
Devil.
Yeah.
One of the things that it says inside of Outwitting the Devil is that a drifter is someone who says they're going to do something, but
Mhm.
they never make a decision on when they're going to do it. If you look at the word decision, it has isn't. What does that mean? That means you have to cut something off.
Right.
When you look at the first, which is comes from the word decidue, when you look at that, you have to decide this is what you're going to do. Once you
Right.
decide that this is what you're going to do, you then have to cut something off to do it. That
Absolutely.
is what the definition, that is what decide means.
Yeah.
But see, a lot of people don't open up their
Break
dictionary.
the
So
words. Break the words down.
hey,
Break
Hey,
the
girl,
words down. People don't understand. There's root words, there's base
yeah.
words, there's prefix, and there's suffix. Break it down for
Right,
the
come on
people.
with it.
it's important. It's important.
Mhm.
Words have meaning. Use
Absolutely.
words
Yes,
for what they're
you're
used
right.
for. So a lot of people, especially children, they have to make a decision on what they're going to do. Once you make that decision, you got to decide what you're going to cut off.
Yes.
Are you going to
Mm.
cut off some extra activities? Because whatever you say yes to, that means you're saying no to something else. You're going to cut off some extra activities? You're gonna cut off your homegirl?
Mhm.
You're gonna cut off not
Right.
waking up in the morning when you said you was gonna wake up? What you
Right.
gonna cut off? So that's pretty much what I did talk to those students there. And that young lady, while we were there on the trip, she did somebody here that same night. I said, exactly, good, you made a decision. If you don't make a definite decision, if you don't have a definite purpose with some
Mhm.
intentionality, you have no chance but to have success in any capacity.
Right.
You're gonna be a part of the 98%.
Mhm.
That's what you're
Mhm.
gonna be a part of. You're more than welcome to go be a part of them. They hate their lives. Good luck. I hope you enjoy that.
Right.
So that's what I
There's
tell you.
something so direct about you, right? Like, that's very refreshing, though, because I know as each generation comes, we're learning emotional intelligence. We're learning
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
frame things in a way that can be better received or better
Mhm.
digested by someone. But sometimes we need to just tell people the truth.
So,
And this is the
Yeah,
reality. You're living in a
yeah.
fantasy until you start working toward what
Right.
you're doing, what you want to
100%.
do. And so
There's
I wonder, as I'm listening to you, because sometimes people don't have that in their life. They don't have the person who's going to be direct with them or give them the game or whatever it is for the pathway that they want to take. How
right.
important is mentorship in
Mhm.
achieving success?
Mentorship is everything. It's everything. If you have a mentor, they can cut down your timeline tremendously.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Tremendously. When you have a mentor that's already dealt with all the problems that you dealt with,
Mhm.
they're just gonna tell you where the potholes are. Don't hit the pothole. Go to the back road right quick. You'll get to the destination faster.
Right.
And that's why mentorship is important. I've never shied away from investing in mentorship.
Right.
Ever. But to be honest with y'all, I don't even have friends that shy away from mentorship either. Because mentorship is everything. Even at work, like in my professional career, I got a mentor at my job.
Right.
I have a mentor at my job. And then even at work, if I don't know how to do something, I know y'all don't think I get on YouTube all day and search it. I
Right.
absolutely do not. I hit up
Right.
that person that I know does it good. I say, hey, listen, you got like you got 15 minutes right quick. I just need to
Mhm.
just help me out right quick with this little thing. And they say, okay, boom, I figured it out. I'm not gonna be on YouTube for 3 hours. I don't have 3 hours.
Right.
So mentorship is everything. Mentorship has changed my life time and time and time and time and time and time again. And honestly, I credit mentorship to me being where I'm at right now in my life.
But it's not just the mentorship, it's also having sponsors. Because as you're giving credit to that mentor that helped line you up and say, this is the quickest path and kept you accountable, it
Mm-hmm.
the sponsor. It could have been the same person, but the sponsor is who spoke your name in rooms that you weren't in. It was
Right.
the
Mm-hmm.
sponsor who came to you and said, hey, an opportunity is going to present itself. Make sure you're prepared.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
They can't
100%.
be the same person, but they have two different functions.
Yep. They do have two different functions. I know that in my life, I know for a fact I've had to have some unknown sponsors somewhere. I don't know them. I only really know of two people who have truly like sponsored me in their way. And I know for a fact it came from them and turned itself into an opportunity. But I know I got some unsaid sponsors because y'all too much crazy stuff be happening in my life for me to not have some sponsors. I know that there are some sponsors. It
Mhm.
has to be. But no, that's important as well. I think even when it does come to that sponsorship and that mentorship, a lot of people miss out on the opportunity to receive sponsorship because a lot of people don't even put themselves out there. They're not vulnerable enough with failure in order to even
Right.
see success. And I
Right,
see that all the time.
right,
All of the time, I see that. It's very consistent.
right.
Yeah,
There's a
and
there's
I
sorry, go ahead. I was gonna say there's one more thing as we're talking about these mentors and these sponsors or whatnot being in
Yeah.
the right rooms. The word
Mhm.
privilege comes up. And sometimes,
Woo!
a lot of times people use the word privilege thinking that it's against us, if you will,
Yep.
right? But I've come to understand, and I know again, this is your field, that
Mhm.
privilege is something that we all have once we can identify what it is, and we have to be able to leverage it. So,
Yes.
Yes.
understand a little bit more about how we tap into what our privilege is individually and how we
Yes.
leverage it.
Yes, I'm actually so glad you brought that up
Right.
because me and a friend were having a very long conversation. We were on the phone for like 2 hours, and this is abnormal because my homeboy, he's building a private equity firm. So he don't
Mhm.
have 2 hours to chat on the phone. He called me and me and him were talking on the phone, and our conversation was about privilege. And I
Mhm.
was explaining to him the privilege that he had in America from him being an in shape attractive, smart black man because he
Mhm.
didn't recognize his privilege because he has a bad familial background. And I said, don't get me wrong. That background is crappy for sure. But you got some privileges that you don't even know that you have because you're in shape and it's clear from across the room. You're a black man with a full hairline and
Mhm.
you're attractive. You got
Right.
privilege, my boy, and you don't even realize it. And it's the
Mhm.
same thing with so many of us. We do have privilege. But in order to recognize our God given privilege, we
Mhm.
also have to be able to not only look at ourselves from a different lens, but be able to look at the world from a different lens. A
Mhm.
lot of people do not have enough intentional interactions with the world to even be able to recognize their privilege because a lot of people
Yeah.
don't really operate from a place of intentionality.
Mhm.
They just kind of moseying around in the world. But when you operate in the world from a place of intentionality, and you're reading books about what is happening to other people and
Mhm.
other people's experiences, you're then able to recognize
Mhm.
what your privilege is. Everybody
Absolutely.
has privilege, but
Mhm.
different people have different privileges in
Absolutely.
different settings. If
Yes.
I'm in a room with 170-year-old white men, my privilege is not the same as it would be if I'm in a room with 140-year-old black women. It's
Mhm.
totally different privilege, but
Mm.
I still have my privileges. But
Yes.
I'm only able to recognize those privileges because I operate in the world in a very intentional space.
Mhm.
And I understand, I understand when certain privileges can help me out.
And so
Absolutely.
tell us and our audience, how important is environment when it comes to shaping education, character, integrity, all of these things? What role does environment play in that?
Environment is the number one indicator of somebody's success
Mhm.
outside of them being able to push past painful experiences. So when people look at their environment, they do have to make conscious and intentional efforts to put themselves in the right environment. We don't always have the best of the best environment or what we desire in that moment, but that's when we have to create it ourselves. You guys, in terms of environment, so I remember when I was in network marketing, okay, and I had a successful career in network marketing. So it went well. That's when I started to learn about environment, all of the different ways to put my mindset in place. I learned to write my goals down. I learned so much stuff when I was in that environment. And it's crazy how an environment can shift you because the right environment can show you that you're not doing enough and there's a lot more that you need to do. The wrong environment can make you feel like you're done just enough.
Mhm.
So environment's everything. I always encourage people to if they have a car, make your car your dream environment. If you have a house, make your house your dream environment. What does that look like? I have in my house right now, I have sticky notes with my goals on my fridge. I
Mhm.
have 10 sticky notes with different goals and the 10 rules to not become a drifter in life. If
Mhm.
you look on this wall here, I have an entire photo of my house that I want.
Mhm.
My environment is conducive to my growth. You
Yes.
can't ask me what my goal is and think I don't know it. How could I not know it? It's right here.
Yeah.
Right.
So environment is everything. And a lot of people take that environment, they take advantage of their environment because they don't know. But once you
Mhm.
do know, it's best to act like you know. When you know better, you do better. So it's good to
I
figure out what
agree.
you need to know.
Mhm.
So
I
yeah.
haven't thought on that too because when you say, you make your whatever you own, make that your environment, or even if you share it with someone that maybe you have either joint goals and you have that around, or maybe there's a piece of the living space that you can have for yourself. I also believe in taking your energy with you wherever you go to create an environment that is conducive to your success. So if you travel a lot or if you're going to visit somebody, bring those scents that activate, your energy or put you to sleep or and
Mhm.
help you to wind down. Bring those images, whether that's the post-it notes, whatever your intention is for your trip, for your speech that you're gonna give, for that interaction that you're gonna have. Bring the environment with you so that you stay focused because getting distracted is so easy.
Yes.
Our
Easy.
attention span, as we know, continues to shorten with each generation.
Yup.
So I'm like you, where I need those Post-it notes, those reminders. I need the alarms to go off on my phone. I need the I need the text messages from my sister. I need all of the things to make sure that I stay focused because it is so easy to go off track.
Yes.
One of the things you mentioned was distractions. So I actually bought into a ADHD mentorship because I just got tired of being distracted. And I was like, I don't really think I have ADHD, but I want to see what they talk about in here. So I paid $5,000 for that.
Mm.
And I just took everything that they were doing in there and that increased my productivity tremendously. It's no such
Right.
thing as a distraction for me
Yep,
anymore because I don't
yep.
play those types of games. You know what I'm saying? Like I just don't play those games. Distraction that I'm having is because I meant to have the distraction.
And that's because you've created the environment?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm
Mhm.
also extremely serious about my schedule as well. Here in Dallas, I get invited to like some different things with, network and all types of stuff. I went to this hotel in downtown Dallas and I met this guy. He's a black man, he's a billionaire. Met him. I said, "Excuse me, sir, I got a question. I just got one question for you." He said, "What's your question?" And I said, "If you had to give me one piece of advice to make sure that I hit every goal I ever set in my life, what would you give me?" He said, "Protect your calendar like you protect your life." I said, "What? But what if something come up? Like, you can't always stick to your calendar." And he said, "Protect your calendar like you protect your life."
Mhm.
I said, "Okay, he's very serious about it." So he went ahead to tell me date night with his wife, it's on the calendar. And if it's not on the calendar, it ain't no date night.
Yep.
Yeah. He said, if it's not on the calendar, it's no date night to go to.
Yep.
He said,
Right.
if she wants to go on a date, she'll put it on the calendar. I said, okay. And I started living my life in that way. It took me 2 years to actually start adopting what he gave me. But now that that's what I have adopted, that's what I live my life by.
So is there a balance between the art of the pivot and the seriousness of the calendar? Or is it the calendar and we not pivoting?
So there is there's definitely an art to it. It comes down to how exactly the time is managed. Because you have to put things in your calendar for nuance. But it also goes down to asking yourself, is this important enough for me to move my calendar around?
Yes.
A lot of
Right.
times the answer is not really. Like, it's like as soon as you ask somebody, can we do it at this time instead? They're either gonna say yeah.
Right.
So when it does come to doing that pivot, the pivot is cool, but it still has to align with what is important for you
Yes.
for it to align to. I don't have any children. So I don't get phone calls of my daughter breaking her leg at school. I hope that there's another parent involved that can get our child from school if that leg breaks, but I don't have that. I'm not in that space in my life anymore.
Right.
So
Mm.
I ain't never been in that space in my life. So I'm not in that space. But
Right.
of course, if I did have, more distractions that I created, I've had that. For
And it's
sure.
funny because we're talking now generational, right?
Yeah, generation. Yeah.
Responsibilities, obligations, different things
Yeah.
like that. One of the things that my husband always reminds me of is we have to know that everywhere we go, we're relevant, but
Yep.
we're not necessary. So when you just said pick and choose,
Yeah.
how important is this to me?
Yeah.
That's what was going on in my mind. Is
Yeah.
it necessary? Am I necessary? 9 out of 10 times, I'm
You're
not
not.
necessary. I might
No.
be relevant, I might
But
be helpful, but
necessary.
I'm not necessary. And so sometimes
No.
we have to stop making ourselves more important than what we really are and do what's
Right.
important.
Bingo. And a lot of times people have not set anything up that's that important anyways. So it's easy for them to divert from whatever they were doing. I keep
Mhm.
my phone on do not disturb. I keep it on there. My mom, it pisses her off every time. She calls and she's like, "Why do you not have me on the special list where I can get through the do not disturb?" Y'all, I got that. I got that prison time do not disturb. 2 phone calls will not get you through my and I told her, I said, "Listen," she said, "What if somebody dies?" I said, "Well, the good news about death. After I'm done doing what I'm doing, I can call you and they still gonna be dead." So, and she was like,
I'm laughing, but I'm not laughing. See,
I said, "Mom, they're still gonna
that's
be
what I'm
dead,
saying.
sweetie.
Like, it's
That's
true.
the truth. It's the
And
truth."
and so what I'm hearing then, Jada, when it comes to success, right? Like
Yeah.
the seeds to success, some of the things that I picked up, but definitely fill in the blanks if I miss anything,
Okay.
is that we want to have confidence. We
Yeah.
want to have discipline. We want to
Yes.
have mentorship, which
Yes.
means that requires a level of vulnerability to have that mentorship.
Yes.
We want to be focused. We
Yes.
want to have self-determination. We
Yes.
can't wait for others to, tap us on the shoulder and say, go. Like we got
Mm.
to get up and go and grind and protect our time and set boundaries.
Yes.
So when we're thinking about this month being about education and somebody's watching like, wow, this is what I need to instill into my children now, right? Like you said, I'm not raising your mom said, I'm not raising kids, I'm raising adults.
Mhm.
And so we want to make sure that we're getting our youth to a place where they are prepared to go into the world and
Mhm.
and operate independent of anyone,
Mhm.
and that means instilling these things in them. And so
Yes.
what I wanna ask you, as we begin to close is, what's something that you would tell your younger self
Mhm.
in your teenage years? Like, what's something that knowing what you know now that you would tell your younger self?
I would tell my younger self, keep believing in what it is that you think is the right thing
Mm.
because the person that is an independent thinker and they have a definiteness of purpose, they don't get to where they going anyways. So that's what I would tell myself. You're an independent thinker. Your thinking is correct. Do what you're doing. That's what I would tell myself every
Mhm.
time.
Yeah, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. And I'm sure that you echo those same words and sentiments as you're out, doing your motivational talks, as you're doing your coaching, as you're just doing your day-to-day, life.
Every day.
So, what type of projects do you have that might be upcoming and how can people find you? Like, what's your social handles, all of that?
For sure, for sure. So, as far as projects right now, I really took a pause on a lot of projects
Okay.
because I really just wanted to focus on myself. So, I took a pause on a lot of projects. So, I'm
Mm.
actually taking like a break right now for the next few months so I
Okay.
can just hone in on myself and focus on myself. So, myself is the biggest project,
Okay.
and I'm real, real locked in with me. Okay. Um, as far as where to find me, my name is at IAMJAIDA STEELE everywhere. There's not a place on the internet where you will not find me at that name. Okay. So yeah, that's where they can find me. Unless they find me on LinkedIn, then there's no I am. It's just Jaida Steele,
Jada
but
Steele.
I'm pretty much the
Yeah.
same across the board. I keep it simple.
I love this. I mean, and we could go
Yeah.
on and on and on and on. This
We
has
can.
just been the vibration, the frequency has been
Mhm.
super high. And
Yeah.
with that, I know at some point we're gonna have to have you back. But between now and then, we just want everybody to keep it on the
Keep
up.
it on the up and up.